And honestly, in a way, I think that was the time that was more needed, because people are, as you'll probably experience the next year or two, like there's this hilarious like year or two of everyone just kind of being lost, and then everyone switches jobs, and then I don't know what happens after that, but I assume people go to business school and then get pregnant and married and whatever. Something's gonna happen, But so that was how I did it, and creating that community is really important. But for that, when I moved again, it wasn't an easy copy paste to try to do that again. And so I think for me, uh, the honestly, actually, that Franklin Fellowship group has continued forward. Like there's a biweekly call among former leaders of the Franklin Fellowship that still goes on Sundays. So I always think about how I can create these intentional communities, because maybe I'm just not that like, maybe I'm just terribly robotic as a person, but but maybe you have some similarities in terms of our
Sounds like it, right?
So like thinking about how to
talking to yourself.
It's like you just kind of lack any ability to connect outside of the context of like a predefined.
Yeah. What is spontaneity? Never heard of it. Couldn't be me. You're writing like, I think like maybe in one of the blurbs, you're like, yeah, college parties where it's just like you're not really talking about anything. Like the Franklin Fellowship is a way to kind of like have a space to actually like connect with people. And I was like, put my hand up. I was like, yup.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, at least you were invited to those parties. That's nice. That's
No comment.
No, but I think that is right. I think that is right. Like, how do you? So to me, it's like, how do you recreate those values essentially? And certainly, I think that's a question on my mind right now. Actually, is that I just moved most recently to Mumbai to be with my girlfriend and her family, and so I'm thinking, okay, besides for like this crazy pandemic going on in India right now, how do I create a community that I feel like has those same set of values that I feel like I need in order to grow. So that's
Very, very cool. And I think this kind of connects to, I'm just referencing all of everything you've written.
This is incredible. You've totally done your homework.
No, but
incredible.
it was fun reading for somebody who enjoys this content. Maybe not for everybody, but you have like a very well thought out way of thinking about relationships post graduation, and you highlight the ones that stuck out to me would be like, you need to create opportunities to connect, be the one to create those moments, as opposed to just kind of sitting on your behind waiting to get invited. And then another one that stood out to me was casting a wide net of people. And I would love to hear if you have any favorite ways to like create those opportunities. Maybe it's those dinner parties like the Franklin Fellowship, and then also any pro tips on like casting a wide net. And for context, you've been all over the globe. I'm going to be like 3 hours away in Connecticut for my first job. And I'm like, awesome. How am I going to make friends? Who am I going to hang with? So awesome. I think this is a really selfish question, but also timely for myself. Something I've been thinking about.
What are you be doing in Connecticut? Just so I can get some.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Norwalk, which is kind of a random spot, but like in the Stamford area, which is like 45-ish away from New York City, doing marketing consulting in life science and environmental science. So that's awesome. That's what I signed up for. If you had any thoughts on kind of thinking about cultivating those relationships, whether it's creating opportunities or casting a wide net, if anything comes to mind.
Yeah, I think I have always been, so the other habit that I did, sorry about habits, but the other habit I did in college, which I think was a really good habit that I tried to keep forward, was my, and Ian, actually, I hung out a lot with Ian in these contexts. So was a habit of my college roommate, again, this guy, Greg. Every other Friday, we'd host something called Breaking Bread, which was a dinner party that we would throw. And every other Friday. So it always happened. We would always throw this party. It would start at like 7 p.m. or something. It would be like 3 hours. Like people would then go on to like whatever they want for the rest of the night. And I always felt like that was a great mechanism, the throwing events, being like the owners of these events, because it was the issue with I think relationships is that we have very limited time. And so you hang out, like let's say you and I hang out one-on-one. This is kind of, let's say we're in person, and I'm like, dude, Chris is the man, but like maybe it's like a bit much for me to be like, yo, let's hang out again next week. Like
Right.
kind of a strange escalation of our relationship for whatever reason,
Right. Yeah. Social norms, whatever it might be, but keep going.
Whatever it might be, right? Unless we're like both freshmen, in which case then it's like, let's hang out tomorrow because I have no friends, right? So it's like, so I always thought that those parties were actually a really good mechanism for it, because you would meet someone, you like essentially just accrue people that you meet all over the course of 2 weeks. And then whoever you like, you're like, hey, I'm going to throw this party. It's going to happen no matter what. You should just come. And then that's the next connection point with that person. And so I really liked that because it allowed for me to scale a little bit the building of communities. And then when people become friends, when people became friends at those parties, then they would inevitably link myself and my roommate to that. And so there'd be these little small communities. And of course they'd end up probably being better friends than with me, that's fine. But I always felt like for example, if we just hung out, and like, because you are awesome, there's no doubt about that. And we're in the same.
I didn't pay him to say that, everybody.
Yeah, exactly. But no, but you're super cool. I'm sure if I was in the city, I would make that leap. I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna throw this party in 2 weeks, and you might not come because you're busy. But if you did come, it'd be great, and it'd be a way to kind of escalate our friendship.
Okay, I like that, and I might try and steal that idea, because I thought it was like the same group of people, but no, it was like you meet somebody cool over those 2 weeks, and then you have like a structured and not creepy and weird event that you can invite them to. Is kind of
and of course I don't
like that.
Yeah, it was just a dinner. I mean, it was just
Right.
a dinner with maybe like 15, 20 people, and I probably wouldn't even frame it to them that I do it every 2 weeks until they get there. I would just be like, hey, but people, there are some regulars, of course, as well. So there's like this inner group that like every 2 weeks they're like, yo,
love that,
we'll have this cool party. But then probably 50% are just kind of new people that you meet, and anyone can invite anyone. So yeah.
Okay. I like that. And that kind of touches on both creating opportunities and casting a wide net, because it's having a structure to do that. I like that. Thank you.